Announcer, VO. There is a strip of reclaimed sand in Dubai so narrow you can see the superyachts of the marina on one side and the open Arabian Gulf on the other. It is a hyper-dense, hyper-expensive playground where developers have spent the last 20 years stacking one glass megastructure after another, pouring billions of dollars of high-grade concrete directly into shifting sand and salt water. They named them after Porsche, after Armani, after Fendi. And now, rising in the heart of this ultra-luxury strip, the world's first Bentley-branded residential skyscraper is going up. 61 stories, 216 units, a patented supercar elevator that lifts your vehicle directly to your private garage in the clouds. Prices start at $5.5 million, with the penthouse asking a staggering $37.5 million. The total project cost? $630 million. The building does not technically exist yet. Completion has already been pushed back 3 times, now officially slated for 2028. But here is what does exist. A peer-reviewed scientific study using satellite radar data precise to the millimeter identifies this exact Bentley construction site as one of dozens along this reclaimed coastline that are actively sinking into the ground. And here is the kicker. A clause buried deep within the legal architecture of these luxury car-branded towers makes it absolutely clear. The automotive giant whose name is emblazoned on the facade has zero legal responsibility for anything that happens inside. Not the engineering, not the subsidence, not the structural integrity. The prestigious name is licensed. The liability is not included. If you are already subscribed, you know what we do here. If you are not, this is the raw, data-heavy truth the luxury brochures hide. Hit subscribe, and let's dive into the catastrophic engineering reality of Dubai's shifting sands. Announcer, VO. To understand the crisis building beneath the Bentley Tower, you have to look past the marketing gloss and examine Dubai's actual geology. The city's modern coastline is built on a foundation engineers treat with extreme caution. Beneath the desert sand lies a highly porous bedrock of marine limestone, riddled with voids and channels carved by shifting groundwater. On top of that, millions of tons of reclaimed sand have been dredged and packed to create prime waterfront real estate. It is, from a structural engineering standpoint, one of the most volatile environments on Earth to support 60-story concrete megastructures. The water table sits just a few feet below the surface. Tidal groundwater moved from the Gulf constantly migrates through the sand, fluctuating with the seasons and extreme summer heat. When you drill massive foundation pilings and pour thousands of tons of concrete mat foundations, the immense weight exerts colossal downward pressure on these shifting sand layers. The ground moves, and the towers move with it. Scientists utilizing the European Space Agency's Sentinel-1 satellite constellations spent years tracking this phenomenon across Dubai's premium coastal developments. Analyzing over 200 high-resolution radar images, they measured the position of building facades and structural elements with millimeter-level precision. The data revealed a sobering reality. Dozens of newly constructed luxury high-rises along the reclaimed coast are undergoing measurable subsidence. The Porsche Design Tower, completed nearby in 2017, registered significant settlement. The residences by Armani Casa showed similar downward displacement. Most alarming of all, the Bentley Residences development site, even before the main vertical tower structure was fully erected, already registered 4 centimeters of ground movement. This isn't just standard settling. Satellite telemetry proves the sinking continues long after construction ends. Heavy drilling, deep excavation, and intense vibro-compaction permanently rearrange the subterranean sand grains into hyper-dense configurations that cannot recover. Combined with extreme thermal expansion from 120 Fahrenheit summer heat, the concrete and steel endure relentless, unyielding stress. If this subsidence becomes differential, meaning one side of the skyscraper sinks faster than the other, the structural margins degrade rapidly. Columns warp, glass facades fatigue, and the safety factors begin to evaporate. Announcer, VO. The business model driving these projects is simple. The name on the building is the product. Developers learned early that high-net-worth expats do not just want an apartment. They want a brand that signals ultimate status. When you buy a unit in a branded residence, you are paying a brand premium of 20% to 35% over a comparable unbranded tower. That is worth hundreds of millions of dollars across a single development. But look at the legal mechanics. Bentley Motors does not pour the concrete. Porsche does not inspect the foundation pilings. The automotive giants enter into lucrative licensing agreements with local developers. The developer pays a massive royalty fee to use the trademark, the logo, and the design language. In exchange, the brand gets millions in low-risk revenue and zero construction liability. If the glass facades fatigue under extreme desert heat or the reclaimed ground shifts, the brand is completely insulated. We are already seeing what happens when the delivery fails the brand promise in Dubai's hyperinflated market. The hyper-luxury Aston Martin residences opened along a prime waterfront strip in May 2024. Within 2 years, by early 2026, a myriad of alleged construction defects had emerged, leading to intense litigation over structural funding. Aston Martin was not named in the suits. They had already collected their licensing fees. Similarly, the massive Mercedes-Benz Places Tower project faced immediate gridlock when its original backers hit severe funding bottlenecks, leaving early buyers holding heavily delayed contracts while the brand remained legally detached from the financial mess. Even during the construction of the Porsche Design Tower, neighboring towers filed formal complaints alleging that deep foundation vibro-compaction was causing immediate cracking in adjacent parking structures and pool decks. The act of forcing a mega-heavy tower into reclaimed sand impacts the entire surrounding zone. In the race to scale up Dubai's skyline, the legal structures ensure that the luxury brands absorb the revenue, while the buyers absorb the structural risk. Anasir, VO. Behind the glittering marketing campaigns lie the personal stories of international investors who bought into the dream of infallible branded engineering. Take the case of a European tech entrepreneur who wired $8 million for a high-floor unit in one of Dubai's premier automotive-branded towers. He believed the brand signaled automotive precision, that the same culture executing microscopic tolerances on a high-performance engine was overseeing the structural tolerances of his sky mansion. Instead, within months of handover, the realities of high-rise living on reclaimed sand began to manifest. It starts subtly. A bathroom door that suddenly rubs against its frame. A hairline fracture spiderwebbing across imported marble tile. Then, the structural fatigue meets the desert climate. During the searing summer months, when external glass temperatures push past 140 degrees Fahrenheit, the building's structural core expands at a different rate than its foundation. Residents have documented eerie, metallic popping sounds echoing through the elevator shafts at 3:00 a.m. as the tower shifts. In the lower basement levels, where the structure meets the groundwater table, the pressure is relentless. High salinity seawater continuously presses against the concrete waterproofing membranes. When a tower undergoes unexpected subsidence, those microscopic movements tear the subterranean seals. In multiple premium developments across the Marina and Palm zones, basement parking garages designed for multi-million-dollar hypercars have experienced severe salt water leaking, pooling around custom carbon fiber rims. Yet, the most staggering dynamic of these towers is how many of them sit entirely dark. Wealthy expats purchase these branded units as liquid assets, safe haven investments to park capital. Up to 60% of the units in these branded megastructures are completely empty. They are ghost towers in the sky. When a building has low physical occupancy, critical mechanical issues, like pipe condensation, pressure drops, or subtle facade warping, go completely unnoticed for months inside sealed apartments. The structural margins are being tested in real time, but because the curtains are drawn and the owners are in London, Monaco, or New York, the data points only accumulate inside scientific radar logs, entirely ignored until the structural distortion becomes impossible to hide. Announcer VO. The engineering reality of Dubai's coastline cannot be ignored forever. While regulatory bodies mandate strict modern codes for new builds, no law can change the underlying geology. As global sea levels rise and the hypersaline waters of the Gulf continue to interact with porous marine limestone, the clock keeps ticking. The strategy for many developers has been to simply outrun the data. Older beachfront structures, built in the early wave of privatization, are quietly being bought out, demolished, and replaced by even heavier, taller, branded skyscrapers. The cycle resets, the fresh concrete cures, and a new 20-year timeline begins on the exact same sand. When satellite subsidence studies are published, they generate brief shockwaves in engineering journals before the news cycle moves on. Sales galleries remain packed. No local disclosure law requires a broker to tell an eager investor that the ground beneath a prospective $30 million penthouse shifted centimeters before the building even topped out. Right now, you can still walk into a sleek preview office and secure a unit in the upcoming Bentley residences. The digital renders show flawless glass facades gleaming under the desert sun. The brochures promise an elite sanctuary with a private cinema, custom car lifts, and world-class finishes. But 70 feet below the luxury marble floors, out of sight of the concierge and the security cameras, the reclaimed sand and porous rock are doing exactly what physics demands them to do under billions of pounds of concrete. They are shifting. Bentley Motors will collect its licensing fees. The developers will move on to the next automotive partnership. The construction loans will be settled. But if the structural margins prove too narrow, if the glass fatigues, and if the towers settle unevenly over the next 2 decades, the liability will rest entirely with the buyers. Because in the high-stakes world of branded real estate, you can buy the prestige, but you cannot buy a guarantee from the ground beneath your feet.